Hey guys, you're back with Juzzy, and today we've got Brucey back for some more mods. This time we're looking at some front indicator swaps. So this is a 2019 Rebel 500, and just like on my bike, the front indicators are really large and they're just not pretty cool looking. So we're going to fix that today. So that's going to involve undoing a 10mm nut and a 5mm Allen key. And then we're going to hang that light loose. We're going to cut the wiring loom for it, and we're going to wire in some new indicators. So we've got brand new clamps here and indicators. So we've got these clamps that have come from a shop called Rogue in Australia. So it's a online store that you can order motorbike parts from. And then we've just got a set of indicators here, which are LED ones, which have been purchased off eBay. So we will have the links to where you can get these parts if you like these parts and you're interested in putting it on your bike. So, yep, I'm just going to start by using I'll just see if I can get closer. You'll see on this side there is a 5mm Allen headed bolt, and on the opposite side there is actually a 10mm nut. So just put the handlebars straight and we'll just work on one at a time. All right guys, so I've just undone this 5mm bolt. So here is the 10mm nut on the opposite side. And I found it easier just to put a socket on the other side and turn it. It was impossible to do without that. So now I can just slot this through, and this actually looks like the bolt that they use on the headlight fairing for the 2022 model. It's a collared bolt, so that we'll have to see if it works with our new bracket. But I'll just place that on the ground. Now you can see that this this indicator clamp is rubber. So we're going to try and maneuver it down a bit. Now if you get up close in here, you'll see that there is a little metal clamp there, and that metal clamp stops this rubber holder from falling down, and you can see it's nice loose rubber, so it could never stay there by itself. So that clamp, we may have to check if that lines up with our new clamp. So our new clamp is kind of like a light aluminium, I would say, at a guess, and it is a 41mm clamp, if I recall. So you can see here that it's perfect, and this one, when you tight, like even just finger tight, it's pretty tight. You wouldn't need to rely on this clamp. So unfortunately this clamp, not quite sure if it can be removed. No, it looks like it can't be removed. So it's a whole part of this assembly here. So we will see if that goes together or if there's any issues, and we'll come back. All right guys, so we have hanged this indicator down by the side, and as you can see, there's plenty of loom here to cut and then join up our new indicator. So we've just spent some time having a look at this bracket that holds the indicator on the 41mm forks, and we found that we like this sort of position best. So right now we've got heaps of wiring loom that can reach all the way back to probably where the neck of the bars or where the clamp is, but we don't need to cut it that far. So I'm just going to snip the cable here so that if we end up selling this bike and wanting to put it back to standard, it's easy to get to, so it's no problem. So I'm just going to cut through this now, and I'm going to cut off these bullet ends, and then I'm going to start on the solder job. Alright guys, so as you can see, we've got the clamps on here. We've got them nice and straight, and we've leveled up the indicators so they look good on both sides. I'm just going to tell you what the wiring connection guide is for the front indicators. So on the left hand side, you've got green to black. So on the whole bike, green wires on the Honda means earth. Then you've got the running light, which is orange to white and yellow. So orange is the factory harness, it's an orange and white stripe one, and then on the indicator you'll have a yellow wire, they join, and then the third wire to connect is the actual blinker. So the flasher is on the indicator, it is a red wire, and it connects on the factory harness to a solid orange color. On the right hand side, again, green is earth, so it goes green to black. That's black on the indicator goes to green on the factory harness. And then on the indicator for the blinker, you've got a solid red color wire, and that joins onto a solid blue color wire on the factory harness. And the last one is the running light, and that on the indicator is a yellow wire again, same as both sides, and it connects to a wire on the factory harness which is blue with a white stripe. So basically your solid colors on the factory harness are the blinker, and the one with the stripe on it is the actual indicator. So I'll just turn this on now to show you. Now what we've decided to do in this case is we actually just wanted the headlamp to be the running light, because my friend didn't like the indicator as a running light. So what we've done is we've actually only used the indicator portion of the wiring diagram. So as you can see, to test that I've got it correct, there's the left indicator, there's the right indicator, and we checked that it was actually correct on the back. Another thing we actually noticed is that on the 2019 model Rebel, on the instrument cluster, when you indicate, whether you indicate left or right, both indicate lights on the cluster actually light up. So we actually had to do a search and found that that's totally normal. And it seems like only in a later model, who knows what year, but 2022, they changed where the indicator sits on the cluster, but also it just indicates a certain way. So just in case you go to wire it up and then you suddenly think, oh, why are both my indicators flashing on the cluster? It's a normal Honda thing that happened in that year model. Alright, so now we're looking at doing the front indicator swap for my own bike. So this is a 2022 Rebel 500 Special Edition, and it should be very similar to Pippa's 2019 model, given that it has the indicators here on the front forks, just like the previous versions. The only thing that's changed from what I can see here is that the indicator is just a different style. So I'm going to be replacing these indicators with some new ones that I've just purchased. So here in the box, I'll have a link to these in the description, of course. These pretty much look the same as the mini bullet style that I've had on the back, which are really good. These are a single large LED type. And as you'll see here on the cables, these only have one purpose, so they're not a running light as well. So I don't personally like the fact that the lights are on when the headlight is running, particularly on these. When you turn the when you turn the lights on, you'll see that they're actually constantly orange, and only when you go to indicate do they actually turn off momentarily. So yeah, I'm just don't like that those lights are on. So I just want it just to have the headlight running. To me, that's a need to look, and that's what these indicators are for. If you do end up buying a set of indicators that have the free wires, then you simply just don't have to connect the running light wire. So yeah, as I've said, this one just comes with a red and a black So I'll start the ball rolling with just undoing the clamp on this model. It's very similar to the last one. It's got a 5mm Allen key bolt there, and you'll just use a 10mm spanner on the reverse side. Let me just try and focus just there. Thought it'd be pretty timely to show you just a new addition I've got to my tool set. So in all my videos, you'll see that I use a 1/2" socket with a hardened kin chrome Allen key, and that makes undoing every bolt on the bike super easy. Just using a home Ryobi 1+ 18V impact wrench. And what I did was I went down to Bunnings this week and I actually bought the kin chrome set of other metric sizes. So this cost about $50 from Bunnings, and I've got 1.5 all the way through to 12. So yeah, I've got some double ups of these ones. These ones here are the most common and stubborn ones on the whole bike, but I've never ever rounded a bolt. So yep, for this one, because it just uses a 1/2" to 3/8 of an inch converter here, it just means that I can use all of these Allen key sockets to get everything undone. So here's the bolt and nut removed from the rubberized fork clamp, which is part of the OEM indicator assembly for the front of the bike. So I'm just going to lay them down near the front tyres so they don't get misplaced. But as you can see, it's very similar to the previous model. This one's got a much tighter wiring harness, so you can't, again, like the other one, let me just pop the light on, like the previous model, it's got a metal clamp just at the end of my fingertip there that the bolt goes through, so you can't really turn it. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip the wire just here, and then that'll enable me to pull this through and disconnect. So as you can see, I've just cut the wire there close to the harness, so you've got plenty of slack to work with the new indicators. And so because I've done that, now I can just rotate, pull that cable through, and then this just separates. It's a little bit hard to do it with one hand, but it's as you can see, that's what the special edition plastic top fork guard looks like, if that's the correct terminology. But I'm just going to use two hands now and I'll just slide this through. Alright, so here is the rubberized clamp on the 2022 model. Looks like this. It is E-stamped, so if you're very pedantic and you're going to replace your indicators and your laws require you to have an E-stamp on the front casing of the indicator, then that's what you can look for when you're buying one. It is a requirement here in Australia, but I'm not worrying about that. I've found a set of indicators that I like. Alright, so I went to try and disassemble this indicator from the bracket, but unfortunately it's got solid rubber through there and it's actually not a screw-on type. So I'm not quite sure how it does go on, but it's just not going to be able to be used. So basically, most indicators you buy come with a threaded bolt at the end here, and what you'll have to do to get these indicators to bolt on is you've got a few options, but I just like to put my new indicators in the same spot as where factory is. Some people put them down low. This is the actual fork mount. It's a solid piece of, I would say that that's actually aluminium. It might be aluminium, might be plastic, but it's pretty hard, and it does make quite a rattly sound when I go against a fork, so it's certainly not a cheap piece of something, but that's what the bottom part looks like. So in terms of putting it on the bottom, that's a piece of rubber there that goes all the way around, but yeah, I just want it from the top. What I was considering doing, and what a lot of the K-Speed bikes do, is they actually put an indicator here, and it's actually the type that is a bar end indicator. So as you all are aware, the special edition is named so because it's got extra blacked out parts. Underneath, it just looks like the ordinary bike. So the non-special edition has the chrome forks, so does this underneath. So in order to make this look good, I was looking for a type of clamp that was, I guess you could say, tall in depth. And as you can see, that's pretty tall, but it's not 100% perfect. So what I'm going to do here in this case is I'm going to get out with the black vinyl paper I've got and just do a wrap around here first so that it's all blacked out. And then I'll be actually installing the clamp here and just trying to make it fit. So yeah, it's pretty close and we'll see how that goes. All right, so as you can see, I've just cut out a piece of vinyl. So the measurements to make this fit there is just over 3 centimeters. So 3 centimeters by 13 centimeters to get a full wrap if you've got this factory fork cover. So here's what it looks like when I've put the 3x13 vinyl over the forks. As you can see, it's nice and blacked out again. So I took a bit of time to try and put this clamp on here, but the aftermarket tank cover has struck again. So when I go to turn the handle to the side, it knocks there. And when I go to put the bracket this way, the indicator is just too far forward. So what I decided to do was I'm going to leave that like that, so it's all blacked out. And I've got this bracket, which I had purchased just as some spares when I was starting to build the bike. And I'm actually going to hang it here more like a sort of a Harley look. So basically it's going to hang down from underneath this lever here. So underneath the stock levers, there is a nut which I can undo, and it's it looks to be probably about 11 or 12 centimeter hole, which should work perfectly. Okay, so here's what it looks like. As you can see, it's the same positioning as the factory indicator. It's just that it's mounted from underneath the levers as opposed to the forks. So yeah, it looks pretty neat because there's no big thick stem there. I actually quite like that. I just had to bend the bracket just a tiny bit upwards so that the leveling of the indicator was right. And the good thing is that the wiring harness is just going to be able to be zip tied straight to that, and it's never going to look unsightly. It just looks factory. So yeah, pretty happy with that. I'll just go ahead now and just wire it up and just check that it looks good. Okay guys, so I've just done a quick black to green and red to solid blue. If you buy an indicator which you want a running light for, then the yellow light from the indicator will join up to the blue with the faint white line that's on this right side. Always do a test fit before you solder everything up, just to make sure that it's working okay. So I'm just going to come over here again, flip the key. So as you can see, there's no running light. So there's no running light from the indicator. And when I go to flick the right indicator on, there it is flashing. So just to give you an idea of what this looks like in comparison to the stock one, flashing at the same time. So as you can see, they're at the same height. It's just that, and it's very bright. So it's the same brightness, if not a little bit more, than the factory light. Okay, so here on the left side of the bike, as you can see, I've put the bracket up there again, mounted it nice and straight. I've got plenty of wire here. And on this left side of the bike, the black again goes to green, and then the red, which is the blinker function, matches up to the solid orange of this side. The one wire that's left remaining, if you don't want to have a running light, is the orange with a white stripe all the way along the length of that line. So I'm just simply leaving that tucked away. I'll put this solder tube in on this side as well for this one, and then I will tape it all up, and let's have a look at the final result. So you can see I've got the two wires solder tubed in, solders in the middle, nice and snug onto the wrap. Okay guys, so here is the final look at the new indicators installed. Exactly the same sort of installation on this side. Got the tape there. I've just put 2 zip ties to keep the wiring loom from the indicator nice and following the same path as the path for the cables here. I don't actually do the zip ties up too tight. I just leave it so it's got a little bit of slack so that if there is some movement whatsoever, it doesn't then pull somehow on the wiring inside here and stuff it up. So I'll just show you what that looks like. Just put the left indicator on here. So I like that it's a lot sleeker, smaller than the factory one. And there is the right one. And just popping them on to hazard lights just so you can see. So everything's working fine, so I don't like the look of having a running light. It might be, as I said, illegal depending on where you are in the world, but yeah, it's not something that I like, so I do like the bike with just the headlight on. So yeah, I'll just show you what that looks like. If you've just got the headlight on riding, to me it looks a lot better, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. So what I'll do now is I'm going to actually start the recording of my next video, which are going to focus on the mirrors. But if you've got any questions about this install, please feel free to ask. Just remember that I've got the links to all the parts I've purchased in every single one of my videos. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel, Tweaked Rebel or Juzzy Evo X. You'll find me on either of those via YouTube. Thanks very much for watching guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.